Discover the amazing moment a billionaire sees a homeless boy dance, transforming his paralyzed life. In the heart of Chicago, where the wind whips through the bustling streets, a spark of magic flickers just before dusk. Young Alex, a 12-year-old boy dressed in tattered clothes, dances on the grimy pavement, his bare feet tapping against the cold concrete like a heartbeat. The city's noise fades as he twirls and leaps, lost in the rhythm of an imaginary tune. With each spin, the sorrow of losing his mother briefly lifts, like a fog dispersing in sunlight. Her laughter echoes in his mind, reminding him that joy can be found even in the darkest times. Crowds stop, mesmerized by his fluid movements. Hidden within their bustling lives, people feel something stir. For some, it's nostalgia, memories of youth and carefree dreams. For others, it's a pang of compassion. Alex dances not just to entertain but to breathe, to fight the crushing weight of homelessness. The steps he learned from his mother are a lifeline that pulls him through each day, and he pours everything love, grief, hope into every performance. Across town, billionaire Thomas Turne steps out of his sleek black car. He is a figure of success, but as he adjusts his tailored suit, a cold emptiness settles in his chest. His life is a whirlwind of meetings and deals, yet joy always seems just out of reach. He has amassed wealth but lost touch with the innocent dreams of his childhood. On this routine day, he catches a glimpse of Alex from across the street, twirling gracefully among pedestrians. The boy's fervent spirit sends tremors through Thomas's hardened exterior, awakening memories of laughter and dreams lost to ambition. Driven by an unfamiliar urgency, Thomas approaches Alex. But beneath his intentions lies a layer of guilt, an uncomfortable thought lingering in his mind. He holds the power to help. "You've got something special," he says, extending an invitation to a prestigious dance academy. But Alex's face falls, pride flickering in his eyes. "I don't want charity," he says fiercely. "I want my dancing to mean something." The streets buzz with tension as nearby onlookers hold their breath, sensing the gravity of their exchange. Before they can delve deeper, the sound of a police van disrupts the moment, and crowds start to disperse. Voices murmur, confused glances exchanged. Thomas stands frozen, grappling with the weight of the boy's words. His world of privilege feels suddenly inadequate. Can he really help, or is this just another way to assuage his guilt? Alex prepares to leave, his feet gliding gracefully away like the last embers of a fire. His passion was never meant to be a charity case. It's a dance woven with dreams and pain. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the crowd begins to thin, leaving a tension-filled silence, Alex looks back at Thomas one last time, determination swirling in his eyes. Can a homeless boy and a billionaire find common ground amidst their starkly different lives? In that fleeting moment, both are left questioning their paths, fate dangling delicately in the air. Will Thomas tear down the walls built by wealth and step forward, or will the boy's dance become another lost spark in the city's unforgiving streets? The night holds its breath, waiting for an answer. As the last remnants of the crowd dissipated, shadows began to creep along the sidewalk, blending seamlessly with the doubts swirling in Thomas's mind. He could still see the fire in Alex's eyes, a fire that burned brighter than any world he had ever built with money and power. The city hum around him seemed to grow distant, shrunk to a whisper as he wrestled with his own emotions. Alex had turned away, feet moving with a grace that belied his circumstances, but a weight clung to his heart. Each step away from Thomas felt heavy, dragging him back into the harsh realities of survival. What would it mean to accept help? Receiving charity felt like surrendering a piece of himself. Those dreams swirling in his mind demanded more than a one-time rescue. They demanded recognition, respect, and a chance to prove himself on his own terms. Thomas took a deep breath. The air felt charged with possibilities, yet he stood paralyzed. What could he offer that wouldn't diminish the boy? He fumbled with his phone, contemplating whether he should take a picture. Then he realized, this moment wouldn't be captured in pixels. It lived in the raw exchange between them, something that couldn't be sanitized or repackaged. With renewed resolve, Thomas started to walk briskly after Alex. His heart raced, an unfamiliar exhilaration rushing through him. He approached the boy just as Alex paused at the corner, his silhouette framed against the fading sunset. "Wait!" Thomas called, his voice cutting through the night like a beacon. Startled, Alex turned, guarded but curious. "What do you want?" His tone was sharp, the boy's pride still intact. "I want to understand," Thomas replied, his voice steady. "Your dance, it's not just for fun, is it? It means something to you." He stepped closer, lowering his voice, as if afraid to startle the fragile connection forming between them. "I messed up. I came to offer you help, but I want to offer partnership instead. Something more." Alex narrowed his eyes, skepticism etching his features. "Partnership? You don't even know me." "Then let me learn," Thomas urged, his heart pounding. "I've walked through cities, made deals that don't fill the soul. But you dance like your life depends on it. Teach me what that means." In that moment, a flicker of hope ignited in Alex's chest. It felt foreign, yet tantalizing. The chance to teach, to share his art, was something he never thought he'd have. But doubt whispered again, reminding him of past disappointments. "You think this is easy? It's not a game." "I don't think it is." Thomas held Alex's gaze, sincere determination shining in his eyes. "Let me prove it. Join me tomorrow. Let me help create a showcase for you, where people will see your story, your dance not just a charity but a celebration of who you are." Alex hesitated, the weight of uncertainty threatening to pull him back. Yet, here was a chance to rise above the asphalt of his life, to show the world his mother's legacy through every movement. "Fine," he finally said, the breath hitching in his throat. "But don't think for a second that I'll let you down." Thomas nodded, an unexpected smile breaking through the barriers they both held. As the night deepened, they stood together beneath the shadows of the city lights, two souls momentarily linked by a shared hope. Their stories were far from over, and the true challenge lay ahead. In the stark contrast of their worlds, could they transform a simple dance into something extraordinary? What obstacles awaited them on this new path? The air was thick with possibility, the city pulse echoing their uncertainty. Tomorrow would be a pivotal moment, and both were now intertwined in a dance they had yet to fully understand. Thomas woke early the next day, anticipation tingling in his veins. The light creeping into his apartment felt electric, buzzing with potential. He could hardly focus on breakfast, his thoughts returning to Alex and the promise they had exchanged the night before. It was strange how a conversation could take root and grow, filling his heart with an urgency he had never felt in the confines of corporate boardrooms. He glanced at his reflection in the mirror, trying to see the man who wanted something more than success. A man reaching out not just to lift someone else, but to rediscover parts of himself he'd long forgotten. Satisfied with a fleeting glimpse of determination, he stepped outside, the crisp morning air wrapping around him like an embrace. Thomas made his way to the park where they had agreed to meet. As he walked, his mind raced through plans for Alex's showcase. He had an inkling of how to share the boy's dance with the world, not as a spectacle of pity, but as a celebration of resilience and talent. He was ready to immerse himself into Alex's world, to craft a vision that drew in the crowd and left them breathless. The park was still waking up, with joggers and dog walkers filling the paths. The smell of freshly cut grass mixed with the aroma of coffee from a nearby vendor. Thomas's excitement dimmed slightly as he searched for his partner, seeing only the ordinary faces of the morning rush. Just as he began to worry, he spotted Alex under a large oak tree, practicing movements that transformed him. The boy was completely absorbed, every muscle in his body responding to an unseen rhythm. He turned, leapt, and spun, his movements fluid and infectious. Thomas stood, captivated, watching as the city noise faded into the background. Approaching quietly, he felt like a spectator to a secret ritual. The bounce in Alex's steps held a spirit that seemed to challenge the very air around him. The stories of struggle, survival, and hope unfolded with each sway of his body. Thomas could hardly contain himself, hearing a whisper of his soul stir for the first time in years. When Alex finally noticed him, a mix of surprise and wariness flickered across his face. "You came," he said, a hint of disbelief in his voice. "I wouldn't miss this," Thomas replied. "You have to show me everything. Let us start turning this into something beautiful." Alex's expression softened, though uncertainty lingered in his eyes. "It's not just the moves. It's about fighting through every moment that tries to bring me down." "Then let us tell that story," Thomas said, stepping closer. "Tell me what you need: music, a space, anything. We'll make it happen." For the first time, Alex smiled. It was tentative, yet filled with the spark of hope he had been hiding. I would want a real stage. To show what it means to dance in a world that forgets us." "Then that's what we'll do." A rush of determination surged through Thomas. "I'll take care of the venue and the promotion. You just need to focus on your dance." As Alex hesitated, he could see the gears turning in his mind, the same mix of hope and fear that mirrored his own struggles. Was this a leap worth taking? "Okay," Alex finally breathed, a nervous smile spreading across his face. "Let us do it." Over the next few hours, they strategized together, spinning dreams into tangible plans. But amid the exhilaration, a shadow loomed: the skeptics, the indifferent, and the barriers Alex had grown up confronting. Would the world really accept his truth? As they plotted their next steps, both were aware that the road ahead was as uncertain as it was exciting. Could their collaboration change the narrative for good? The weight of possibility wrapped around them tightly, poised on the brink of transformation. The first breakthrough they sought was just a few steps away, but would it be enough to overcome the looming doubts? Tomorrow awaited, and it would demand everything from them both. Thomas felt the rush of adrenaline mixing with his lingering doubts as he prepared for their first rehearsal. The air in his apartment was thick with resolve, interwoven with the scent of fresh coffee. He had barely slept, his mind racing with ideas and the weight of responsibility pulling at his heartstrings. What if Alex's story was too raw, too vulnerable for the world to handle? Yet, every time he thought about that tentative smile and the flicker of determination in Alex's eyes, it reignited his commitment. Today would be the beginning of something beautiful. Thomas grabbed his notebook filled with scribbles about stage designs, lighting, and promotional ideas and headed out. As he stepped into the park, the familiar backdrop of morning life greeted him. Kids chased each other, lovers strolled hand in hand, and the laughter of families filled the air. But amidst this mundane simplicity, Thomas was looking for something extraordinary. He found Alex sitting on the steps of a small amphitheater, his eyes closed, listening intently. Up close, he looked different today, nervous yet alive, with an energy that crackled under the surface. Thomas could tell he had been doing some thinking of his own. "Hey!" Thomas called out, approaching with an encouraging smile. "You ready for our first rehearsal?" Slowly, Alex opened his eyes, revealing a mixture of excitement and fear. "What if I'm not good enough? What if they don't understand?" Thomas sat next to him, feeling the weight of those questions. "They will understand, Alex. You have a gift. It's not just about the dance, it's about connection. Your story is real, and that matters. Let us show them." Taking a deep breath, Alex nodded, though uncertainty still lingered like a shadow over them. "Okay, but I need to feel the music deeply. It's part of who I am." Thomas's eyes sparkled with inspiration. "Let us find the right sound. What do you want to express?" "Something that is hopeful, but raw like a fight," Alex said, his voice gaining strength. "It has to tell my story." Thomas allowed Alex to take the lead. They spent the next hour searching through playlists on Alex's phone, testing out different genres, everything from classical symphonies to upbeat hip-hop beats. With every song, Thomas watched as Alex's face lit up with possibility and inspiration, his soul coming alive with each transition. Finally, they settled on a powerful track that resonated with the fears and dreams that had been bottled up inside Alex for so long. As the music played in the background, he began to move, each step becoming bolder, each twist brimming with raw emotion. The energy shifted. It felt like the park itself held its breath. Passersby noticed, some pausing to watch intently as Alex bared his heart through movement. Thomas clapped as the music faded, overwhelmed by the transformation he was witnessing. "That was beautiful!" Thomas exclaimed, barely able to contain his excitement. But Alex fell silent, an anxious expression falling over his face. What if it's not enough? What if they laugh instead of cheer? What if I fail? Every great performance comes with fear, Thomas reassured him. But you're not here to please everyone. You're here to be true to yourself. Remember, it's the journey that matters. Alex processed his words, emotion swirling in his eyes. You really believe that, don't you? Absolutely, Thomas replied firmly, wishing he could share more of his own uncertainties. Because the truth was, he was as scared as Alex. Would the world really accept them, or would they be met with indifference or worse, mockery? With a tentative grin, Alex asked, "So what's next?" "Next," Thomas said, determination filling his voice, "is to invite a small crowd. We'll put on a private showcase. Let us show them what you can do." As excitement mingled with fear on Alex's face, they both knew they were diving deeper into uncharted territory. It was exhilarating and terrifying, dancing so close to the edge of their dreams. But before Thomas could voice what was really on his mind, a familiar, harsh voice broke through the moment. "Hey, you two! What makes you think you can even pull this off?" The ice in his veins returned as he recognized the local bully, an unwanted figure from Alex's past now looming in their story. What would it mean for them both if he didn't back down? Would they have the courage to stand together in defiance? The path ahead was more uncertain than ever. Alex's heart raced at the sound of that mocking voice. His stomach twisted as he instinctively leaned closer to Thomas, seeking strength in his presence. The bully, Marcus, was someone Alex had feared for far too long. Standing there, tall and imposing, with an ugly smirk plastered across his face, Marcus was a reminder of everything Alex had tried to escape. "Look at you!" Marcus jeered, crossing his arms. "You think a dance can fix all your problems? You think people will actually care? Please, this town's seen better dancers in kindergarten." Thomas shot Alex an encouraging glance, masking his own tension. He wanted to protect Alex, to spur him on, but could they really withstand the pressure Marcus brought? The park around them buzzed with the ignorant happiness of others, unaware of the storm brewing within their little circle. "Do you really want to find out?" Thomas asked, his voice steady, but inside he felt the weight of Marcus's words. The doubt threatened to claw at him too. Alex took a deep breath. "It's not about them liking it or not," he said, surprising Thomas with the defiance in his tone. "It's about telling my story. It's my chance to share what I've been through. If they laugh, so be it. But I won't let you steal that from me." The determination struck Marcus like a brick wall. "You think you can just dance your way out of the gutter? Nice try, loser. Everyone knows you're just a wannabe." But Alex was no longer listening to the taunts. He was focused inward. "This is my story, not yours. You can't define who I am." In that moment, something shifted inside Thomas. It was just Alex confronting his past, but also their collective fight against the shadows trying to suffocate them. "You know, Marcus," Thomas spoke up, his voice stronger than he felt. "Everyone has their demons to face. But standing up to them? That takes real courage. And maybe you're just scared that we're not afraid anymore." The air grew thick with tension as Marcus stared, still assessing. The glares sparked like fireflies, and for a fleeting second, the world around them faded. "Scared? Of you?" he scoffed, backing down slightly. The bravado in his voice wavered. Yet even as he turned to walk away, Thomas felt the thrill of their tiny victory electrifying the air. Alex looked at Thomas, his eyes shining with gratitude. "I think I can do this," he said, almost breathless with both fear and excitement. "We've got this," Thomas said, a spark lighting in his chest. They spent the next few days working tirelessly, planning for their showcase. Every afternoon brought fresh rehearsals, each step more fluid than the last. The rhythm of their journey filled Thomas with hope, and Alex began to shine. He seemed to draw strength from the hurdles he had faced rather than allowing them to crush him. Finally, the day of the private showcase arrived. Nervous excitement buzzed around them as they gathered their small audience, a handful of close friends and supporters. Alex paced backstage, the echoes of laughter and chatter from the crowd rushing like waves against his thoughts. What if they don't like it? He fretted, anxiety creeping back into his mind. Thomas took a steadying breath, placing a hand on his shoulder. Remember why you're doing this. It's for you. No matter how they react, you've already won by being here. This moment, this is your time. The lights dimmed as they prepared to step out. Behind the curtain, Alex felt the music pumping through the walls, a heart that thrummed with every beat. He glanced at Thomas, who nodded encouragingly, grounding him amidst the chaos. As the curtain lifted, and the first note played, they both stepped into the unknown, hearts racing. But in that moment, none of the fears mattered. What mattered was the dance, the story, and taking a leap into a new beginning. But in the midst of their performance, a piercing scream broke the silence, halting them mid-movement. "What are you doing? You should have stayed hidden." The words belonged to someone Alex never thought would show up again. The stakes just escalated as Alex faced yet another test of his courage. Could he embrace the light after being pulled into the darkness once again? Alex froze, heart pounding, the music fading into a palpitating silence. The voice cut through the air like glass shattering. He turned slowly, dread pooling in his stomach. Standing at the edge of the crowd was his estranged father, the very man whose judgment had haunted him since childhood. His presence felt oppressive, like a sudden storm cloud. "What are you doing here?" Alex stammered, struggling to keep his composure. With boiling emotions swirling, he felt the remnants of his determination slipping like sand through his fingers. His father sneered, hands shoved deep into his pockets. "I was just passing by, and I see you've decided to embarrass yourself in front of this audience," he spat, glancing disdainfully at Thomas, who stood rigid beside him, ready to confront the man with clenched fists. "No one's embarrassing anyone." Thomas shot back, his protective instinct flaring. "This isn't about you. It's about Alex finding his voice and his dance. You don't get to ruin that for him." The words hung heavy in the air, a palpable weight that shifted the energy from fear to defiance. Alex watched as Thomas stood firm, grounding him amid the storm. But his father wasn't deterred. "Spare me the lecture, kid," he barked, eyes narrowing. "He's wasting his time here, playing dress-up and pretending to be something he's not. You think dance will make a difference? This whole thing is just a joke." The crowd murmured. Gasps and whispers of disbelief flickered like candle flames. Alex felt raw, exposed, but in that moment, something shifted within him. The truth bubbled up, igniting his spirit, blurring the space between self-doubt and awakening. "Everything's a joke to you, isn't it?" Alex said, his voice trembling with emotion but growing steadier with each word. "You've mocked me long enough. But if you think I'm going to stand here and let you demean my dream, you're wrong. This is about my story, my truth, and you don't get to take that away." Just then, an unexpected voice cut through the noise. "He's right." A girl from the audience, someone Alex had danced with in the past, stepped forward. "We've all faced our own battles. Music and dance, it's the heart of who we are." Her words rippled through the crowd, rallying support. Heads nodded, murmurs of agreement began to swell, like the tide rising in the face of a storm. Alex glanced at Thomas, who beamed with pride, eyes sparkling with belief in him. In that split second, Alex made a choice. He wouldn't let his father's poisonous words taint his moment. With a deep breath, he returned to the center of the stage, grounded by the cheers of his friends. The music swelled again, a surge of power. He felt it beckon him to dance, to be free, to break through every shackle of doubt. As he moved, each step became an assertion. The rhythm coursed through him, awakening an energy he thought he had lost. And suddenly, from the corner of his eye, he spotted something remarkable. A figure, a stranger, appeared amidst the crowd, a man dressed in a sharp suit, eyes wide with astonishment, as he watched Alex dance. In that moment, something shifted in that man's expression. It was as if hope had ignited in his heart. Alex danced harder, pouring every ounce of emotion into each movement. He could feel the audience shifting, caught in the electricity of his performance. And as he spun, the crowd erupted in applause, every clapping echoing like thunder in his ears. But just when Alex thought he could finally embrace victory, he noticed the man in the suit stepping forward. A hint of excitement etched across his face as he reached for his phone. What if this stranger held the key to turning everything around? Could he be the answer to Alex's dreams? As the last note faded into the night's air, Alex locked eyes with the man, nerves tingling. Would he take the next step, or was this just another fleeting moment? The dance was far from over. The music died away, leaving a buzzing silence that wrapped around Alex like a warm blanket. He was breathless, standing in the center of the stage, heart still racing from the dance and the confrontation. The applause still surged from the audience, but it felt distant, as if it bounced off a wall and arrived late. Alex's gaze remained fixed on the man in the suit. The stranger stepped closer, his expression a blend of wonder and something else, hope, perhaps. Was that possible? Alex's heart raced at the thought of someone seeing his potential. That was incredible! The man shouted, his voice cutting through the lingering buzz of the room. The crowd around them fell silent, their attention drawn to this unexpected moment of connection. Alex blinked, his breath hitching. Was he really talking to him? You really think so? He managed to stammer, his voice thin and shaky. Absolutely. The man's excitement was infectious. I've been looking for someone with that kind of raw energy. You have talent, kid. Talent that could take you places. From the back of the crowd, Thomas grinned, his eyes wide. See, Alex? I told you. This is your moment. The audience began to lean in closer, sensing the life-changing energy sparking between the two. Whispers erupted around them, talk of opportunities, dreams, and something greater just beyond the horizon. What's your name? The man asked, his gaze steady and locked onto Alex as if he wanted to make this moment tangible. Alex, he replied, an edge of disbelief threading through his voice. He could barely process what was happening. A part of him wanted to pinch himself, wondering if he was dreaming. Then, the man thrust out his hand. I'm Daniel. What if I told you there could be a way for you to share your passion with a bigger audience? There's an event I'm sponsoring, one that could change everything for you. Those words hit like a tidal wave, crashing over Alex. Suddenly, all the doubt, the fear, the weight of his father's words began to fade. I don't know. I mean, what would I even do? He stammered, anxiety creeping back in. Just be yourself, Daniel said, his voice steady and encouraging. Show people what you can do. Dance like you did just now. Your spirit speaks louder than any fears. All around him, the crowd continued to murmur, excitement crackling in the air. For the first time, Alex could feel something more than just confidence. It was belief, warmth, the promise of something incredible. But just as swiftly, doubt flickered back to life. What if I flop? What if it's all just a joke, like he said? This voice came from deep within him, snaking its way back in, leeching the spark of hope. But Daniel leaned in, lowering his voice just for Alex, his eyes earnest. I've had my share of flops too, kid. Everyone does. But if you don't take the leap, how will you ever know what you're capable of? The only way to know is to try. The crowd around them was alive with anticipation. They seemed to hold their breath, waiting for Alex's decision. His heart raced again, a wild stallion bucking under the weight of potential. What did he want? Did he want to let fear hold him back, or did he want to seize this chance? As he opened his mouth to respond, his father's sneering face flashed back in his mind, a persistent shadow pressing down on him. But suddenly, a different image broke through the crowd cheering, Daniel's encouraging smile, Thomas's unwavering support. Okay, Alex finally breathed, feeling like he was stepping off a cliff. I'll do it. I want to try. Cheers erupted from the audience, the sound rising like a wave of energy that enveloped him. But before he could fully embrace this surge of emotion, his heart stumbled at a sudden thought. What would his father say? Would he come to ruin this moment again? The spotlight had shifted, but shadows still lingered. As Alex embraced his decision, he realized this was just the beginning of a much bigger journey, one filled with choices, challenges, and the unknown ahead. With his heart in his throat, Alex looked up at Daniel, determination shining through the nerves. What would the next step bring? Would he be courageous enough to face his father's judgment one last time? The applause still filled the room, a blend of thunderous claps and joyous cries vibrating around Alex. It was intoxicating, and inside him, uncertainty began to alter gears. He felt like he was hovering above the stage, the bright lights blinding him but also illuminating a path that stretched far beyond what he had known. Daniel leaned closer, his confidence spilling over. Great! We can set up a meeting tomorrow to discuss this event. I have connections with some big names in the industry. They'll take you seriously. His smile was infectious, wider than anything Alex had ever seen. But even as his heart soared, Alex felt that creeping shadow again. What if they see me and think I'm just not good enough? Fear dripped from his words, a stubborn echo of his childhood doubts. Daniel shook his head, his smile unwavering. No one becomes great without facing judgment. Some will love you, some won't. It's part of the journey. But you have to start somewhere. From the corner of his eye, Alex spotted Thomas, who was practically vibrating with excitement. There was no doubt his best friend believed in him, perhaps more than Alex believed in himself. He searched the crowd, faces illuminated by the lights, eager, hopeful, longing for something meaningful. Then, a ripple of excitement coursed through the air as he noticed a familiar figure stepping forward, a woman in a stylish dress, with long, blonde hair that framed her face. It was his mother. Her expression was a mixture of pride and disbelief as she clutched something familiar about her old video camera. It had been ages since he had seen her hold it. "Mom?" he whispered, a jolt of warmth flooding through him. She shrugged off the doubt and disbelief of years, holding the camera steady, ready to capture this moment that transcended time. He'd forgotten that sometimes the biggest supporters don't come from the loudest cheers. They are the ones who simply stand by, awaiting the first note of the symphony. The world faded to the background as Alex's focus shifted solely to her. In a strange way, she seemed to say, "You can do this. You've always had it in you." He saw her tight smile, as if she were willing him through all the barriers. A fierce need to make her proud ignited in him. "I want to try," he repeated louder, finding strength in the memories of shared dreams with his mother, the hopes for a life burst full of color and movement. Daniel slapped his shoulder, pulling him back to reality, but the support felt solid. "That's the spirit. Remember, Alex, this doesn't just change your life, it can inspire others. You've got people rooting for you." The energy shifted again, swirling in extremes. The crowd was now murmuring, their anticipation morphing into something palpable. He could almost taste the thrill intermingled with anxiety. What would happen next? What was waiting on the other side of this decision? As he stepped off the stage, that question hung in the air like a curtain waiting to be lifted. With every beat of his heart, he pondered the transformation that lay just ahead. The incandescent glimmer of possibility surged through him, yet so did the daunting memories of failure. Would he soar or would he stall? In that moment, there was only one way to find out. What would it take to break free from the chain of expectations, including his father's shadow that always loomed near? He turned to Daniel, ready for this new beginning. "Let us do it. I'm ready." As the crowd erupted into cheers, Alex felt the heat of potential unfolding around him. But deep inside, the echoes of doubt still lingered. What would it mean to transform not just his life, but the lives of others as well? And more importantly, would he finally find the courage to face everything standing in his way, especially his father? The next day would decide it all, pushing him toward the edge of a cliff he was determined to jump from. Would he soar into the skies of his dreams or crash down into the valleys of his fears? The sun peeked through Alex's window the next morning, casting warm rays across his room. He blinked at the brightness, his heart racing as he recalled the night before. The applause still echoed in his ears, a symphony of promise and hope. But as he sat up, uncertainty swirled in his chest like a storm at sea. What if last night was just a fluke? What if the moment he transformed into a star was actually a temporary spark? A part of him wanted to drown in those doubts, but the memory of his mother's smile grounded him. She believed in him. If only he could believe in himself just a little bit more. He jumped in the shower, letting the water wash away the remnants of worry. The plan began to unfold in his mind like origami, the meeting Daniel had mentioned, the potential connections, the glimmer of a future he had only dared to dream of. With a newfound sense of determination, he dressed quickly, pulling on his favorite shirt and the sneakers that felt like armor. When he stepped outside, the chill of the morning air was invigorating. It was as if the world was vibrating with possibilities, urging him to take his first real leap. On the way to the coffee shop where they agreed to meet, Alex fought off an internal battle, anxiety wrapped in excitement. What if they love the idea? What if they have suggestions that could help me grow? The thoughts raced, but alongside them came the relentless ticker-tape cloud of negativity. But what if they tear it apart? What if they see you for who you really are? Just an amateur. Pushing through, he arrived early, the scent of brewed coffee wafting through the door, wrapping around him like a warm hug. He spotted Daniel at a corner table, waving vigorously. Thomas was already there, his face alight with encouragement. Hey! You ready for this? Daniel's enthusiasm was contagious. Yeah, I think so, Alex replied, his voice steadier than he felt. They dove into conversation, excitement spilling over as they fleshed out ideas for the event. Yet, every time they touched on the reality of what lay ahead, the industry veterans, the potential scrutiny, his pulse quickened. Don't overthink it, man, Thomas chimed in. Just focus on what you want to convey. Your story matters. As they spoke, Alex found a rhythm, words flowing with newfound conviction. He was sharing visions of artistry, community, and how music could weave connections. For the first time, he began to feel like part of the conversation, not just an outsider observing. But just as he spoke about reaching others who felt lost, the memory of his father entered the room uninvited. His voice echoed in his mind. You'll never be good enough, Alex. A momentary silence hung in the air, the kind that felt like a held breath. He flinched, but as Daniel's hand rested on his shoulder, Alex gathered his strength. No, he whispered to himself. This is my time. No more shadows. With a deep breath, he continued, feeling the fire kindling within him. What if this event could change lives? What if it could show people they aren't alone? Daniel nodded enthusiastically. That's it. That's the heart of it. You'll inspire so many. Just then, a woman approached their table, her eyes sparkling. Sorry to overhear, but I had to say, whatever you do, please keep your passion at the forefront. People sense authenticity. Alex's heart soared. You really think so? Absolutely, she replied, her smile broadening. The world needs more voices like yours. As she walked away, the weight lifted slightly. He could do this. He had to believe. The meeting stretched into discussions about logistics, budgets, and ideas. Each past moment felt like another step toward the horizon he dreamed about. Yet just as confidence surged, the shadow of his father crept back, whispering rotten seeds of doubt. Am I cutting the rope binding me to his expectations? He wondered. But just before leaving, Daniel leaned in close. Remember, Alex, it's not about proving something to anyone. It's about sharing your truth. Right, Alex replied, conscious of the inner battle he was trying to win. But will that be enough? The laughter among his friends echoed lightly in their corner of the cafe, wrapping around him like a protective shield. And though the buzzing edge of doubt still lingered, there was something sharper now, determination. As they left the cafe, something sparked inside him. The sun was brighter than before, the air felt charged with possibility. With every step, he knew he was heading closer to the leap he was destined to take. Would he be able to stand up to his father and break free, or sink back into the shadow of doubt? His heart raced. The day was unfolding, but the challenge loomed large. Would the fear ever truly be quieted, giving way to the clamor of dreams? The stage awaited him, and he felt the moment of truth drawing nearer. The sun was beginning to set over Chicago, casting a warm golden glow across the park where the stage stood, ready for Alex's moment. Excitement buzzed in the air, a living thing that crackled with anticipation. Throngs of people had gathered, faces bright with curiosity, and behind those bright smiles were stories waiting to unfold. This was at the culmination of dreams, heartache, and transformation. Backstage, Alex's heart raced as the sounds of the audience reached him like distant drums. He stood with Thomas and Daniel, who were both riled up with encouragement. "You've trained for this, it's your time to shine," Thomas said, clapping Alex on the back. But even as he felt their unwavering support, fear curled in his gut. His father's disdainful words echoed in his mind, relentless and sharp. "You think you're something special? You're just a nobody." "No more shadows," Alex whispered under his breath, closing his eyes for a moment. He thought of his mother, the warmth of her smile filling him with strength. "I'll show them my truth," he vowed quietly. As the introductions played out in the background, he took a deep breath, allowing the moment to settle in. And then he heard it, the announcer calling his name. "Alex!" The sound shot through his veins, igniting a fire of adrenaline. He was alive, heart pumping hard as he stepped toward the bright lights. The crowd erupted in applause, and suddenly, all the anticipation transformed into a wild tapestry of sound that pushed him forward. As he took center stage, everything else faded. The lights focused solely on him, illuminating his path and wrapping him in a warm embrace. The music pulsated through the speakers, a fierce beat that pulsed like a heartbeat, igniting his spirit. He started moving, letting the rhythm flow through him, each step a declaration of his journey. Here was his story, the pain, the struggle, the joy. He waved the lyrics of each spin, each leap, sending emotion soaring in every direction. Gasps rippled through the audience as he danced, drawing them closer into his world, a world where he showed them the resilience of a boy who fought against the relentless tides. His feet were light, yet every movement bore the weight of hope and tenacity, echoing against the pavement of his past. The audience didn't just see a boy dancing, they felt his struggle, his heart, his mother's laughter echoing in each twist and turn. They were moved, completely enraptured, lost in a tale woven through the fabric of his existence. Suddenly, amidst the rhythm, he saw Daniel at the front row, pride radiating from him as he cheered. He turned his gaze to see familiar faces in the crowd, friends he'd made through this journey, their expressions lit like candles in the darkness. They believed in him, and right there, in that moment, he felt an unshakable bond with them all. Mid-performance, he spotted his father lingering at the edge of the crowd, a figure painted in shadows. Something inside him sparked with anger, but more than anything, it fueled his determination. This moment was not for him, it was for everyone who had ever felt dismissed or underestimated. He wouldn't let anyone steal this joy. As the final notes of the music played, Alex finished with a powerful pose, arms raised high, breath fogging in the cool air. The silence thickened, holding the breath of the crowd, and then a wave of applause crashed over him with a thunderous roar. He stood in the brightness of their admiration, and for the first time, he felt welcomed, valued, seen. Stepping away from the stage, every tendril of fear had dissipated. The elation surged. He had not only shared his dreams, but he had transformed them into a reality. Alex's gaze found Thomas and Daniel, who were grinning with pride, but most importantly, he turned to see his mother. She was there, the camera raised, joy flooding her eyes as proud tears glistened. "What happens next?" Alex whispered to himself, ready for whatever this new world had in store for him, weapons of hope in hand. In that moment, Daniel approached, a broad grin illuminating his features. "There are doors starting to open, but this is just the beginning, Alex. You've shown them who you are." His heart full, Alex turned back to the roar of the crowd. The future stood before him, a canvas waiting for his mark. No longer bound by his past, he felt light, liberated. "Let us do this," he thought fiercely. He was ready, standing tall against the shadows, fully embracing the light within. Across the sea of faces, he knew he wouldn't just dance for himself anymore. He would dance for everyone who needed hope and a reminder that dreams can take flight. The night was just beginning, his future shining like the stars above. And as the crowd swelled with applause, a new hope surged within them all, a hope ignited by Alex's courage to dance his truth. You need to subscribe now to keep following stories that inspire transformation like this. Leave a like now if this gave you chills and comment your thoughts on Alex's journey. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need this spark of hope in their lives. Don't wait not even one more second, let us spread the light together.